Yeah, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New
New
Year,
Year,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, everyone. How about your celebrations, New Year celebrations?
Didn't celebrate, sir.
Uh, how about your New Year celebrations?
Sir, no celebrations.
No
No
celebration.
celebration, sir.
Fine,
Why?
sir.
Sir, at home.
Assignment, sir.
Assignment.
What at home?
Assignment, sir. Sir,
Assignment, sir.
Assignment completion.
See,
Sad life.
depressed, sir. Sir, Corona is also increasing, so that's why we are at home.
celebrations means at home with parents. That is a great celebration. I am missing my parents. I'm at Raipur only. So you got the okay. You got the great privilege that you were there with your parents. After some time, you may okay fly to other places for your higher education or otherwise for your marriage purposes. So whenever you are with parents, you should celebrate. See, celebration means oh वो करना ये करना नहीं. Simple. You be you should have some quality time with your parents. That's it. That is the celebration. I did not go anywhere. If I will get time, I would like to stay at my home because normally, if I would go to college at morning 9 o'clock, then I may return at 7 o'clock or otherwise 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Meantime, I may come for lunch and I will have half an hour. Then I will go again personal works. That personal work means personal research work. Then this type of classes. Then after that, institutional works. I'm the NCC professor in charge, and so many other confidential work in charge I am. So that for that work, okay, no problem. Okay, once again, happy New Year. Yes, applied chemistry. How many units are there? Ah,
Four,
Four.
four units.
4 units are
Four
there.
units.
Number one,
Technology of
Technology
water.
of water.
technology of
Technology
water.
of water.
Technology of water.
Fuel.
Number two,
Fuel combustion.
Fuel
Fuel
combustion and cement.
combustion and cement.
fuel combustion and cement. Number three,
Corrosion.
Corrosion and
Corrosion.
failure.
Corrosion and leakage rule.
corrosion and phase rule. Number four,
Lubricants.
Lubricants
Lubricants and
and
polymers.
polymers.
lubricants and polymers. In applied chemistry, there are 4 units are there. Now, presently, okay, technology of water unit is going on. What is hardness? What is the determination of types and its determination? That portion was completed. Okay, which indicator we are using in the hardness?
EBT.
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 Factory indicator as speed up, man. Nobody are responding. This is very bad. EBT indicator. Okay, which ligand we are using in the determination of hardness?
EDTA.
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 Disodium salt of EDTA.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Ethylene diamine tetraacetate.
Why we are using disodium salt of EDTA?
Because
Because
it is
the
a
solute
soluble.
is partially soluble, less
Normally,
soluble.
EDTA is having the partial solubility. To increase the solubility, we are converting into disodium salt. Why we are using basic buffer solution?
To maintain the
For
Complete
pH.
complex
ligands are
stable
stable in
stable
basic medium for us
Stable.
to maintain the
Okay,
pH
now
range 8 to 10.
basic pH, the complexes are quite stable, hence we are maintaining basic pH. So to maintain the pH, we are adding basic buffer solution. Okay. Now next one is alkalinity. What is the definition of alkalinity? Yes, speed up. Ah,
The
Capacity of
ability
water
water
capacity of
sample
water to
neutralize acid.
neutralize
capacity
acid.
of water to neutralize the acid. Why I am okay? I understood the definition. Why to neutralize the acid? समझ में आ गया ना? Because here the water is alkaline nature, so it should titrate against standard acid. So it is just like a neutralization titration. So here, okay, with the help of this titration, we could able to determine okay the strength of water sample. That means the alkalinity of water sample. Okay, the definition understood. the ability of water sample to neutralize the acid. Yes, understood or not?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
type
sir.
of ions are causing alkalinity?
OH minus.
Hydroxide,
carbonate.
Yes, carbonate, bicarbonate. It's okay. If P is equal to 0, which type of ions may present?
Bicarbonate.
Bicarbonate ions.
Carbonates.
Speed up, man. If P is equal to 0, bicarbonate ions are there. If P is equal to M,
Carbon.
hydroxide ions alone may present in the alkalinity in the water sample. P is equal to half M.
Carbonate ions.
Carbonate.
Yeah,
Carbonate
ions. Then what's the strength of that carbonate ion?
What, sir?
2p. The strength of the carbonate ion is 2p. See, P is equal to half M. Bicarbonate ions may present. What is the strength of that? Carbonate ions may present. What is the strength of that carbonate ions? 2p. Then, if P greater than half M, what type of ions may present?
Hydroxide.
Carbonate.
Hydroxide carbonate. What is the strength of hydroxide?
2p minus m.
2p minus
2p minus M.
What is the strength of carbonate?
2 minus M minus
2 into M minus P. Then P less than half M.
Sir, carbonate and bicarbonate.
Yes, carbonate and bicarbonate. What is the strength of carbonate?
2p.
2p. What is the strength of bicarbonate?
M minus
minus
2p.
2p.
M minus 2p. Okay. So please remember, okay, the tables. How you have to do the calculation? Simply do the titration. Then after that, get the concordant reading of phenolphthalein and methyl orange. Then you go for calculation. Two types of calculation. First is alkalinity up to phenolphthalein end point. Then N1V1 is equal to N2V2. Calculate the normality of water sample. Then calculate the strength. Strength is equals to normality of water sample, and that should be multiplied with equivalent weight of calcium carbonate and into 1000. The next one is alkalinity up to methyl orange end point. Then again N1V1 is equal to V2, or otherwise for understanding N3V3 is equal to N4V4. Then calculate the normality of water sample. Then normality is equals to equivalent weight of calcium carbonate. Strength of normality of water sample into equivalent of calcium carbonate 2000. Then compare what is the relation between P and M. Whether if P is equal to 0, bicarbonate ions may present. P is equal to M, hydroxide ions may present. P is equal to half M, carbonate ions may present. P greater than half M, hydroxide carbonate. P less than half M, carbonate bicarbonate. अरे alkalinity समझ में आ गया कि नहीं आ गया?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay.
sir.
Okay. The next topic is boiler troubles. Alkalinity is over. Is it okay? Understood, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Our next topic is boiler troubles. See, what is the boiler? Okay, slightly I am fast because we are running slightly late. So please listen carefully. What are the boiler troubles? Or otherwise, first of all, what is boiler? Boiler is one iron container where the water is continuously converted into steam by the application of temperature and pressure. Container, it is a iron container. See, say for example, in our a home also, so many containers are there. Okay, that containers, some container may be used for the boiling of water or like that. So similarly, one iron container is there. That iron container, simply we are filling the iron container with softened water. That softened water is converted into steam. That is the main application of boiler. Once again. Okay. Once again, What is the boiler? Boiler is one iron container. It is a vessel, okay, which is used to convert the water into steam by the application of temperature. That is the boiler. Simple, but it is a big container. Like, okay, we are using either 100 liters of water, 1000 liters of water, 2000 liters of water. Okay, such type of okay big quantity we are using the water. And here the main application of boiler is simple. Okay, the only one and only application is to convert the water into steam. Okay, that's fine. But here, what happened? The water which is filled inside the boiler, that water is called as boiler feed water. Once again, I am saying the water which is ready to feed into the boiler, that water is called as boiler feed water. That means okay that water is okay sent into boiler, then that okay water may convert it into steam. But here the boiler feed water always it should be ultra pure. Ultra pure, I am using the word ultra pure. It should be free from all the hardness causing ion or otherwise all the dissolved or otherwise suspended particles. Getting my point? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the water
sir.
is free from all types of ions which are causing the hardness or otherwise any alkalinity or any types of ions. So, what we are doing normally before sending the water into boiler, the water is purified. Normally, what are the main sources of water? The main sources of water is okay, the small lakes are there, or otherwise small rivers are there, or otherwise some wells are there. Okay, the wells are also source of water, or oceans are there. From ocean also simply they are collecting water, and that is okay converting into softened water. So like this, these are the main sources. But these main sources are having some suspended particles. Say for example, river water is there. The water is okay flowing from okay long distances. So that water may be having some leaves or otherwise some suspended particles, hardness causing ions, alkalinity causing ions, all types of ions may be present in that. So what we have to do? We have to collect it. We have to remove all these types of ions by using different methods. That what are the methods are there that is there that I will okay cover that portion also. Then okay we have to purify. Then that purified water is fed into the boiler. Then that water is converted into steam. But here what happened? Okay, after removing of all the ions, okay, that ultra pure water also sometimes if any impurities are there in the water sample, so during the process of conversion of water into steam, some problems may be arise. What are those problems? That problems are called as boiler problems. What are those problems? Scales, here scales, sludges, priming, foaming, carryover, boiler corrosion, caustic and brittlement. Okay, once again. So those problems are called as boiler troubles or otherwise boiler problems. Boiler troubles or boiler problems. What are those? Scales, sludges, priming, foaming, carryover, corrosion, caustic and brittlement. So these type of 6 boiler troubles are there. These are the main problems. Once again, what is boiler? Boiler is one iron container in which the water is converted into steam by the application of high temperature and pressure. Then, what are the boiler problems or boiler troubles? Yes, in the water, in the boiler feed water, if any impurities are there, if any dissolved salts are there, so those dissolved salts are going to create some problems. That problems are called as during the process of conversion of water into steam. So that problems are called as boiler problems. Now, what are the boiler problems? Sludge, scale, priming, foaming, carryover, corrosion, caustic, and brittlement. Yes. Now, one by one, we are going to read it. See, normally requirements for boiler water. See, what are the main requirements? Free from hardness causing salts. Yes. Free from oil and greases. Free from dissolved salts and suspended impurities. Free from dissolved gases and suspended salts. Okay. Now, here it was given. Okay, if hardness causing ions are there, that may leads to sludge and scale problem. Sludge and scale. Free from if oil and greases are there, that may going to form okay priming and foaming. Then next one, if any dissolved salts are there, suspended impurities are there, or alkaline substances are there, sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate, these type of ions are there, that leads to caustic embrittlement. If dissolved gases like carbon dioxide or oxygen, if these type of ions are there, that leads to boiler corrosion. How? That we are going to discuss. So these are the, okay, what are the requirements of boiler water, or otherwise then if those impurities are there, that is going to, okay, create what type of problem. So these type of problems may created. Now see what is the sludge. See, sludge means, see what happened. See, even in our house also, you take, say for example, 5 liters of one container. Then in that 5 liters, you take 4 liters of container. You fill, okay, with up to 5 liters. Take 5 liters of container, then fill it, then you boil it, then after, just you make it half. Then when you make it half, that means 2.5 liters. Remaining 2.5 liters are evaporated. So when the water is evaporated, what happens? The water gets concentrated. If any impurities are there, those impurities may settle down at the bottom of that container, or otherwise some loose slimy precipitates may be appeared. Some precipitates, fine particles. Because as water is evaporated, water get concentrated. If any impurities are there, those impurities may, okay, appear with our naked eye. If you observe that, you may observe small fine precipitates, fine particles. See, that is only 5 liters of water. But here we are taking 1000 liters of water, or otherwise 500 liters of water, big quantity. So what happened? Definitely, obviously, some, okay, when water is continuously converting into steam, then water gets concentrated. When water gets concentrated, some dissolved salts may, okay, present in the water sample. So if some precipitates may be there in the water sample. So if that precipitate, okay, sludge, if the precipitates are soft, loose and slimy precipitates formed within the boiler. So here this point is very, very important. Okay, see, normally water is continuously evaporated to form steam. So this increases the concentration of dissolved salts. If any dissolved salts are there, those concentration will be increased. Then finally a stage is reached when the ionic product of these salts exceeds then solubility product, hence they are, okay, thrown out as precipitates. Okay, normally, okay, what is the reason for precipitates? So that is the main reason for precipitates. The precipitates are formed inside the water. If these precipitates are soft, loose and slimy, see, this is the boiler. Inside the boiler, let us assume that, okay, inside the water, okay, inside the boiler, okay, some water is there. When heat is applied, water gets concentrated. Then some precipitates are loose, slimy, okay, soft, loose and slimy. So those precipitates are called as, see, loose precipitates suspending the water, that is called as sludge. Very simple, don't worry about this. Okay, if the precipitates, okay, during the conversion of water into steam, some loose precipitates, soft, loose and slimy precipitates may be formed, are, okay, suspended in the water sample. That precipitates are called as sludge. So what are the main reason? Either magnesium carbonate, magnesium chloride, calcium chloride, magnesium sulfate. So these are the some of the reasons. Now see, what are the disadvantages? Yes, okay, you may have some doubts. Yes, if the precipitates are loose and slimy, soft, then what are the drawbacks? Yes, there are some drawbacks are there. What are the drawbacks? Sludges are poor conductor of heat. Yes, okay, poor conductor. Normally, what is the main characteristic of boiler? The main characteristic of boiler, it should act as a good conductor. That means the temperature which we are giving, so the temperature should be transferred to water. That means whatever the temperature we are giving, that temperature, initially the boiler iron container is going to absorb the temperature, then the temperature is, okay, transforming to water. So when water is absorbed the temperature, water is converted into steam. That means the iron material should act as a good conductor. But whereas, okay, here the sludges are there, they are the poor conductor. Then what happens? They may not absorb the temperature, so some heat may get wasted. That means the, okay, boiler efficiency may decreases. That means wastage of fuel also may take place. So one by one, that all are linked one by one. Okay, initially what happened? You are giving 100 degrees. Let us assume that you are giving 100 degrees centigrade, but okay, the water is not absorbing, not taking that 100 degrees centigrade means that let us assume that if it is taking only 80 degrees centigrade, the 20 degrees centigrade is wasted. Okay, that is also one of the point. So if it is wasted means heat is get wasted, then generation of steam generation is wasted, got decreased. Then if wastage of fuel may take place to burning that while we do, okay, we are required some fuel. So these are the some of the drawbacks. Excessive sludge formation hampers working of boiler. Yes, then sludges settles at pipe connections, plug opening like region and causing choking. Yes. See what happens if any dissolved salts are there while converting water into steam, the some suspended particles may carry in the steam, may carry forward in the steam. So in the steam, if those suspended particles are there, so they may settle down in the machinery parts. So that leads to choking. That means the machinery parts may get decomposed. That efficiency of the machinery parts may decrease. So these are the some of the disadvantages. So how to prevent the sludge formation? Yes, preventing is only the one and only option is we have to use ultra pure soft water. There should not be any suspended particles. The second one is by frequent blowdown operation. What is blowdown operation? Blowdown operation is the partial removal of suspended particles is called as blowdown operation. That means, say for example, one iron container is there. Okay, let us assume that you are using 1000 liters of water for the generation of steam. Then the 1000 liters, when it is converted into, let us assume that 100 liters of water. That means after conversion of steam, after 1 or 2 hours, let us assume that only 100 liters of water is there. So that water maybe having some precipitates, that is a concentrated water. That water may be removed through the at the bottom of the boiler, one small door is there. So simply by opening the door, you are going to remove the concentrated water or concentrate. If any precipitates are there, they may be removed. Then again you fill the fresh lot of water sample to convert the water into steam. So what happened? See, when it reached to 100 liters of water, then see 1000 liters to 100 liters. So 100 liters is highly concentrated water. If any obviously some precipitates may be there, some sludge may be there, some suspended particles, precipitates may be there. So that may be removed. So because of that removal, what happened? Choking may be avoided. Then efficiency of the heat may not may be increased, or otherwise if you continue the generation of steam, that 100 liters of what happen, that water may get concentrated. If the precipitates are there, the precipitates may deposit inside the boiler, inner walls of the boiler tube. So that may lead another problem. So here we have to remove the soft, loose and slimy precipitates. That is with the help of blow down operation. Blow down operation is nothing but partial removal of concentrated water. So after some time, when water gets concentrated, simply you remove it, you fill the fresh soft water, then you continue the generation of steam. So these are the prevention of sludge formation. Next problem is scale. See, scale. What is scale? The scale is, see, when the 1000 liters of water is converted into, that means the remaining water is 100 liters only. Water is evaporated, water is get concentrated. So that time what happen? If any dissolved salts are there, they may convert it into precipitates. Initially the precipitates are loose, slimy and soft. But if you continue the heating, that means when water gets concentrated, when it is at 100 liters of water, still if you are continuing till completion of the last drop of water sample, then what happen? Yes, water may get converted into steam, but the soft and loose and slimy precipitates may stick to the inner walls of the boiler tube, may strongly adhere to the inner walls of the boiler tube. So because of that strongly sticking the precipitates, that is called as scale. Scales are hard deposit finely sticking to the inner wall of boiler. That means the loose precipitates, when total water is converted into steam, the remaining precipitates may strongly adhering to the inner walls of the boiler tube. So that is called as scale. Yes, what happened? See here, they are difficult to remove even with the help of hammer and chisel. That means, okay, the precipitates are very hard deposits. Okay, even if you, okay, remove, even if you, okay, with the help of hammer also, you cannot remove the precipitates. See, even at our home, we can observe our heater. Okay, normal, okay, nowadays everybody are using geysers, but normally you might have having that experience also. The geyser, that heater, that iron, okay, that iron is, you may observe that some hard deposits on the, okay, on the iron rod heater. Have you observed that?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is nothing but scale. That is nothing but scale. That means in the boiler, if you, okay, complete all the water into steam, if you convert all the water into steam, then what happen? Okay, obviously, if the water is pure, then no problem at all. No problem at all. But still, if any suspended particles are there, those suspended particles may strongly stick inside the walls of the boiler tube. So those deposits are called as scale. See, what is the difference between sludge and scale? Sludge and scale is, sludge means soft, loose and slimy precipitates. That means, okay, the precipitates are suspended in the water sample. That stage is called as sludge. That precipitates, that stage precipitates are called as sludge. But whereas in case of scale, the precipitates are strongly adhering to the inner walls of the boiler tube. That precipitates are called as scale. They cannot be removed even with the help of hammer. So that is the scale. What is the reason behind that? The main reason is, if calcium bicarbonate is there in the water sample, on boiling, what happens? That is converted into calcium carbonate. So that calcium carbonate is the most insoluble precipitate. That fine precipitates may strongly adhering to the inner walls of the boiler tube. So that is the main reason. So hence, okay, it should be free from all types of hardness causing ions. So when, okay, the boiler feed water is, okay, ultra pure water or ultra soft water, that water only you can use. Okay, you are not supposed to use any hardness causing ions. If any hardness causing ions are there, they may lead to scales. Then, okay, what are the what are the problems? Okay, if calcium, yes, if calcium carbonate is there, how we are going to remove the calcium carbonate? Okay, but high pressure boilers, calcium carbonate is soluble due to formation of calcium hydroxide. Yes, yes, since okay, if high pressure is used, then the calcium carbonate may be converted to calcium hydroxide. Yes, calcium hydroxide is the, okay, readily soluble in the water sample. Okay, that's no problem. But whereas normally that is going to form the scales. Then deposition of calcium sulfate. See, the solubility of calcium sulfate in water decreases with increasing temperature. Okay, if high temperature is there, if calcium sulfate is there, okay, that may exist in, okay, insoluble nature. That means if temperature increase, okay, solubility calcium carbonate may decrease. So the calcium sulfate also get precipitates in the water, in the boiler tube, and that is also leading to scales. So calcium sulfate scales are very, okay, difficult to remove that. So that is another problem. Then magnesium chloride is there, that is converted into magnesium hydroxide. That magnesium hydroxide is the precipitate. Calcium hydroxide is readily soluble, but whereas magnesium hydroxide is the precipitate, that is also going to form the scale. Then presence of silica, that is also going to form some scales. See, what are the disadvantages, drawbacks of scales formation? Wastage of fuel, yes, because see, the boiler tube is there, the inner walls of the boiler tube is strongly sticking to the precipitates. Whatever the temperature you are giving, the temperature may not transferring to water sample because of the hard deposits. Then what happen? You are required to give high temperature. Then high, okay, burning of fuel may takes place. That means huge amount of fuel may takes place. That means fuel is, okay, wastage of fuel is taking place. Then, okay, wastage of heat is also taking place. Then, okay, then say for example, iron is, oh yes, iron is also melted at high temperature. If you are continuously, if you are giving high temperature, the boiler material may decompose, because that is also made up of iron. If high temperature is given, the boiler material may decompose, some cracks may happen, then sudden explosion may take place. Why sudden explosion may take place? Because of high temperature, the scales which are deposited inside the boiler, they may break down. But when it is break down, okay, there that water sample may get connected to iron, then the water sample suddenly, okay, heat absorption may take place. So sudden change in the temperature, explosion may happen. So these are the some of the drawbacks. Then, okay, what are the preventions? Yes, prevention is external treatment of water softening like ion exchange. That means, okay, we have to remove all types of ions from the water sample. That softened water may be used for the generation of steam inside the boiler with the help of boiler. Then, yes, sometimes what happen? Okay, softening of water is there. Internal methods, external methods are there. So internal methods, carbonate conditioning, colgan conditioning, phosphate conditioning, some methods are there. There you can remove, okay, if any boiler producing some problems are there, okay, that can be removed with the help of these methods that we will discuss at that portion, don't worry. Then mechanical hard scrubbing method, that means, yes, okay, after completion of one slot, what you have to do, okay, with the help of scrubbers, with the help of brushes, okay, you remove the hard deposits, okay, then after that you can use for another lot of water sample. Then use of EDTA, yes, sometimes you can add EDTA inside the boiler, that may, okay, that is going to, okay, bind the calcium ions. That means either calcium or magnesium hardness causing ions may be binded with EDTA. If HCl is there, yes, because of addition of dilute HCl, that is going to deposit the calcium carbonate. That means in presence of acid, hard scale deposits may dissolve in presence of strong acids. So these are the some of the, okay, uh, prevention of scale formation. Now, see here what is the difference between sludge and scale. See, they are soft, loose, and slimy precipitates. They are the hard deposits. They are non-adherent deposits. They are strongly adhering to the inner walls of the boiler tube. Produced by salt like calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, magnesium sulfate. Produced by salt like calcium sulfate, magnesium hydroxide. It is found comparatively colder portion of the boiler. It found generally heated portion of the boiler, because heated portion of the boiler, the precipitates may strongly adhering to the inner walls of the boiler. Then they are less dangerous. These are more dangerous comparatively sludges. Scales are very, very dangerous. Once scale formation happened, then, okay, obviously the efficiency of the boiler tube may decrease, because, okay, the removal of scales are, okay, very, very difficult. So hence you have to, okay, use the, okay, partial, that blow down operation. What is the blow down operation? The partial removal of concentrated water is called as blow down operation. So with the help of that blow down operation, we can avoid the formation of scales. Yes, that is the sludge and scale. Okay, now next one is, yes, what is boiler corrosion? Boiler corrosion means decay or disintegration of boiler material, okay, either due to chemical or electrochemical reaction. That is called as boiler corrosion. But what is the definition of corrosion? Corrosion definition means the decay or decomposition of any material with the help of electrochemical reactions or due to chemical reactions. That is called as corrosion. Decay or decomposition of boiler material. Here we are discussing boiler, hence we are using boiler material. Decay or decomposition of boiler material due to unwanted electrochemical reactions. That is called as boiler corrosion. That means the boiler material is made up of iron. So that iron may decompose because of the corrosion. What is the main reason for that? Yes, some dissolved gases are there. Oxygen is there. Carbon dioxide is there. Magnesium chloride is there. They are the responsible. How they are responsible? Yes, they are certainly they are responsible. How? Yes, if you go through the chemical reaction. See, oxygen is one of the, okay, most dangerous, okay, gas inside the boiler. That means, see, the boiler feed water, it should be free from all types of suspended particles, and at the same time it should be free from all types of gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide also. Why? If oxygen is there in the boiler, water is there, that means moisture is there, then that is made up of iron. So iron in presence of moisture, in presence of oxygen, that is going to convert into ferrous hydroxide. That ferrous hydroxide may react with 1 mole of oxygen, and that is going to convert to ferric hydroxide, that is Fe2O3, Fe2, okay, both tries. So the, okay, that is called as rust. So that means boiler may decompose in presence of oxygen and moisture. So this is very, very important. That means indirectly, if oxygen gas is there, that may, okay, decompose the boiler material, because the iron material may convert into ferric hydroxide. Now, then how we are going to remove the oxygen? Yes, simple. Due to addition of sodium sulfite, that may react with oxygen, and that is going to convert into sodium sulfate. Now, okay, that is. Then similarly, okay, the ferrous sulfate is there. The ferrous sulfate is also used sometimes. It reacts with dissolved oxygen, giving a precipitate of ferrous hydroxide, which is oxidized to ferric hydroxide. That means if ferrous sulfate is there, that is converted into ferrous hydroxide, then that is going to produce the sodium sulfate. Then, okay, that ferrous hydroxide that may react with oxygen, that is converted into ferric hydroxide. अरे ये छोड़ दो. Okay, here some controversy is there. Simply you have to remember if how we are going to remove the oxygen. Simply, okay, if you heat the boiler feed water, if oxygen is there, that may evaporate. Or otherwise, okay, you can use sodium sulfite that may react with oxygen, that is converted into sodium sulfate. The next one is, yes, sometimes they are using hydrogen. Hydrogen also they are using. That oxygen may react with hydrogen, and that is going to produce the nitrogen and H2O. Nitrogen is a gas that is going to evaporate it, remaining is water. That means we are using sodium sulfite or otherwise hydrogen for the removal of oxygen. Now, see, another gas is there, dissolved carbon dioxide. Yes, dissolved carbon dioxide is also one of the main responsible for the corrosion. How it is? Okay, it is also responsible for the corrosion. Yes, some chemical reactions are there. See, sometimes the carbon dioxide may be present in the water sample, or otherwise, because of other hardness causing ions, in situ generation of carbon dioxide may take place. In situ generation means what? If magnesium bicarbonate is there, if magnesium bicarbonate is present in the water sample as a hardness causing ion, on heating, that is converted into magnesium carbonate, H2O and carbon dioxide. That means due to decomposition of magnesium bicarbonate, there is a formation of carbon dioxide gas. That means there are two possibilities are there. One possibility is either carbon dioxide may be present in the water sample, or otherwise due to decomposition of other substances, carbon dioxide gas may release in the water sample. So these are the possible combinations. If carbon dioxide is there, then what happens? Yes, if carbon dioxide is there, that carbon dioxide readily dissolved in the water sample, that is going to produce the carbonic acid, that is the H2CO3. This carbonic acid, what happened? Yes, that means the acidity of water sample will increase. If acidity will increase, then what happened? Yes, if acidity will increase, there is the possibility of increasing the corrosion. That means the acidic water or acidic medium is more prone to corrosion. That means, see, boiler is made up of iron, oxygen is there, moisture is there because water is there. If carbon dioxide is there, that water will become acidic in nature. So in acidic medium, the rate of the corrosion will increase. So that is very, very dangerous. Because of the corrosion, the decomposition of boiler material may take place. Hence, the presence of carbon dioxide may lead to corrosion. Hence, we have to remove the carbon dioxide before sending the water into boiler. So that is the main drawback of presence of carbon dioxide. Now, how we are going to remove the carbon dioxide? Okay, that is, the main reason is if calcium carbonate is there, the calcium carbonate, then okay, that may readily dissolve in the water in presence of carbon dioxide, that is going to produce the calcium bicarbonate. Or otherwise, if carbon dioxide is there, ammonium hydroxide, that is going to produce the ammonium carbonate. So here calcium carbonate, another calcium is okay inserted in the water sample. So this method is not suitable because another hardness causing ion is incorporated in the water. So this is not suitable. But you can use this method, ammonium hydroxide. Due to addition of ammonium hydroxide, the carbon dioxide readily reacts with ammonium hydroxide, and that is going to produce ammonium carbonate. Ammonium carbonate is readily soluble in the water. That is not going to produce any boiler trouble. Yes. Then because of presence of mineral acids means magnesium chloride or calcium chloride. These are also responsible for boiler corrosion. How these are responsible for boiler corrosion? Presence of oxygen, presence of carbon dioxide, presence of mineral acids are responsible for boiler corrosion. Presence of mineral acids means either magnesium chloride or calcium chloride. These are the mineral acids. How? Yes, if the magnesium chloride or calcium chloride are present in the water sample, they are readily dissolved in the water sample, and they are converted into corresponding hydroxides, and they are going to release the HCl as a byproduct. If you go through this stoichiometric reaction, the reaction of magnesium chloride with water, that is going to produce the magnesium hydroxide as well as mineral acid HCl. These are the mineral acids. So these mineral acids are strong acids. Then strong acids means the water is totally acidic in nature. If water is acidic in nature, rate of the corrosion will increase. What are the rate of the corrosion? Yes, the iron, the boiler material may react with HCl, that is going to produce the ferric chloride. The ferric chloride readily dissolved in the water, that is converted into ferrous hydroxide. That ferrous hydroxide may react with one mole of another mole of oxygen, that is going to produce Fe2O3 to H2O. This is the rust, otherwise 4FeOH price, like that formula. This is the rust. That means the acidic medium is more prone to corrosion. The rate of the corrosion will increase in presence of acidic medium. So the presence of mineral acids are also very, very dangerous, either HCl or otherwise H2SO4 or mineral acids. Okay, these are some of the drawbacks. Now, next one is caustic embrittlement. What is caustic embrittlement? Yes, see, caustic embrittlement is a phenomenon during which the boiler material becomes brittle due to accumulation of caustic substances. What are the caustic substances? If caustic soda means sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is nothing but caustic soda. If caustic soda is accumulated inside the boiler material, then what happens? Where, see, boiler material is made up of iron. So the boiler material may have small cracks on the surface of the boiler tube. Small cracks, because that is iron, small cracks may be there. Because it may not be having the smooth surface. If it is having rough surface, then in that capillary holes or the small capillary cracks, the sodium hydroxide may deposited. Then what happens after some time? Due to huge accumulation of the sodium hydroxide inside of boiler cracks, then what happens? After some time, that part where the soda is deposited, that part may become brittle. Brittle means easily break down. So when high temperature is given to increase the efficiency of the steam generation, then what happens? Where the caustic soda, where sodium hydroxide is deposited, that part may break down. That means the entire boiler may not be useful for the further applications or further uses. So that is also one of the drawbacks. That is called as caustic embrittlement. What is the definition of caustic embrittlement? Okay, the caustic embrittlement is the phenomenon during which the boiler material becomes brittle due to accumulation of caustic substances. What are the caustic substances? The main caustic substances are sodium hydroxide. So this type of boiler corrosion is called as caustic embrittlement. This is due to alkaline water. That means, see, the boiler feed water should be free from hardness causing ions and as well as free from gases and as well as alkaline substances. If gases are there, corrosion may take place. If alkaline substances are there, caustic embrittlement may take place. If hardness causing ions are there, sludge and scale may take place. So each and every ion may lead to particular boiler trouble. So you have to be very careful. The boiler feed water should be free from all types of ions. The conclusion is all types of ions. If any ion is there, that may leads to any boiler trouble. If so, see here, sodium carbonate is there. See, what is the main source of sodium carbonate? Yes, see, that part we will discuss later. In the softening of water, lime soda process is there. External methods, geolect method is there, ion exchange method is there, lime soda process is there. So lime soda process, simply we are adding lime and soda to the water sample. Soda means sodium carbonate, we are adding water sample. So the sodium carbonate may react with hardness causing ions, they are converted into precipitates. But here you have to add calculated amount of sodium carbonate to the water sample. If you could have added the small excess of sodium carbonate, Then what happens? If sodium carbonate is remains in the water sample, the sodium carbonate is existing in the soluble in nature, but sometimes what happens that in the high temperature that may readily dissolve in the water sample, that is going to produce the sodium hydroxide and as well as carbon dioxide. Sodium hydroxide, the two products are very, very dangerous. Sodium hydroxide, that is leads to caustic embrittlement. The carbon dioxide, which is generated in situ reaction. Because of the chemical reaction, carbon dioxide is generated. That carbon dioxide readily goes into water. That is going to produce the carbonic acid H2CO3. H2CO3 is the weak acid. That means water is acidic in nature. The acidic nature is more prone to corrosion. That means iron in presence of acidic medium may react with oxygen in presence of moisture, that is going to ferrous hydroxide, and again that may react with 1 mole of oxygen, then that is going to produce the rust Fe2O3 2H2O. That is the rust. That means boiler material may decompose. That you may know what is rust. So these are the how we are going to remove that. Yes, simply okay. Sodium ferroate you can use. So that sodium ferroate, okay, we can with the help of that due to regeneration of sodium, further dissolution of iron gas. See, sometimes what happen? The iron surrounded by constant sodium hydroxide acts as anode, while iron surrounded by dilute NaOH acts as cathode. So here some electrochemical reactions are also taking place. So see here the concentrated alkali dissolve the iron as sodium ferroate. See sodium hydroxide what happened? Okay, that may react with iron, that is converted to sodium ferroate. Again that sodium ferroate may readily dissolve in water, that is going to produce the ferrous sodium hydroxide. That means this is a chain type reaction. Further sodium hydroxide is going to produce. So this is highly dangerous. Caustic embrittlement is highly dangerous because the sodium hydroxide is going to dissolve the iron material. That is going to produce the sodium ferroate FeO2. So these are the some of the drawbacks. How we are going to remove? Yes, prevented or okay that by using sodium phosphate as softening agent or otherwise by adding sodium sulfate to boiler water, so that sodium hydroxide may be removed. Simply you go through it. 1 or 2 points are there that you can understand. Then what is priming? See here, what is priming means when the steam is generated rapidly in the boiler, some droplet of liquid water are carried along with steam. This process is known as wet steam generation or otherwise priming. See here, this definition is very simple. What is priming? See, sludge, scale, priming, foaming, corrosion, caustic embrittlement. So sludge, scale, corrosion, caustic embrittlement is completed. Now priming is going on. What is the definition of priming? Priming means, see, the steam during what happened, see, inside the boiler, water is always converted into steam by the application of temperature. If any suspended particles are there, then what happens? Because of the higher temperature, the suspended particles may readily enters into steam. Because okay, high temperature, the fine particles may carry along with steam. So inside the steam, some these suspended particles may be there. So that is nothing but formation of okay wet steam. Okay, that is called as wet steam. That means see the suspended particles when it is enters, that is carrying some water droplet, one water droplet. So see steam means no moisture at all. That is only steam is there. But because of the suspended particles, what happened? Some moisture may be generated. That means quality of the steam may be decreased. When the water sample is inside the steam, high temperature is there. Suddenly the water may be evaporated. Then okay, the fine particle may deposited inner walls of the boiler material or machinery parts. Then what happened after some time? Okay, after some time, the hard deposits may be there inside the steam. Okay, inside the steam also some okay machinery parts may be there. So there the steam hard deposits may be okay there. So that is also one of the drawback. So that is called as priming. Priming means see here it was written very simple. When the steam is generated rapidly in the boiler, some droplet of the liquid water are carried along with steam. Liquid may Okay, somebody are joined. What is timing? Anyone? What happened? So do you have any class now?
Sir, I forget the timing of the class.
Sir, we don't have class, but we have to do lunch and other work also.
Are can you close the class?
So we'll do further in next class.
What is your name, man? Huh? Okay, 2 minutes. I'm going to close the class. So priming means formation of wet steam is called as priming. Because of rapid generation of steam, some water droplets may enter inside the steam. That is called as wet steam generation. That is called as priming. So here, what are the main causes of priming? The main causes of priming are if any suspended particles are there in the water sample, that suspended particles may jump into steam along with some water droplet. So that is called as wet steam. Yes, what are the okay, how we are going to minimizing the priming? By using a proper designed boiler. Boiler design should be it is a proper, by maintaining low water level, by avoiding rapid changes in the steaming rate. That means, say for example, if the boiler water is heated at 100 degrees centigrade, suddenly rapidly if you switch over to 100 degrees 500 degrees centigrade, so there is a sudden change in the temperature. So because of the rapid change in the temperature, some suspended particles, fine particles, may jump into steam along with water droplets. So that is also reason for priming. By minimizing foaming, yes, if any oily type substances are there, so they also generate the foam. The foam may enters into steam, so they may also have some suspended particles. When it is entered into steam area, their high temperature is there. Water may be immediately evaporated, but these suspended particles may deposited inside of the machinery parts. Now, how we are avoiding that priming? The main reason is by using soft water. Okay, there is no alternative. Now, what is the carryover? The along with impurities by steam is called as carryover. Okay, that is nothing but carryover. The title itself you can understand. Okay, carrying of water along with impurities into the steam. Same priming is also nothing but same. Okay, here priming and foaming. Here foaming was not there. Here some foaming is there. How I jump directly to carryover? Yes, foaming means, see, because of the oily type substances in the water sample, then what happen? Okay, if any higher fatty acids are there, oily type substances are there in the water sample, that oily type substances, when it is heated, they may react with sodium, which is present in the water sample, sodium salts, that is going to produce the sodium and magnesium salts of higher fatty acids. So sodium salts of higher fatty acids are nothing but soap. Soap means when it is heated, as the water is soapy in nature, that is going to produce the air bubbles, foam, that is going to produce the foam. So because of the foam is nothing but the air bubbles which do not break easily. The air bubbles are there, they may not break down because of the soap, soapy of nature of the water. So because of that, what happen? Generation of steam may be reduced because entire the boiler, the water is existing in the form of foam. So there is no formation of steam. So efficiency of the steam generation may be reduced. So here actually oils, alkalis react to form soaps, which greatly lowers the surface tension of water and thus increase the foaming tendency of liquid. That means as the surface tension is decreased, then what happens? That is going to produce the foam inside the boiler. the water is existing in the form of foam. That means small air bubbles which do not break easily. So that is called as foam. So obviously the generation of steam may be reduced. Or otherwise, okay, if again if you to increase the temperature steam generation, if high temperature is given, then what happen? Okay, because of high temperature, the air bubbles may enter into the steam. That is nothing but air bubbles means the air bubbles may carry some sodium salts or otherwise higher fatty acids or otherwise some any suspended particles. Those hardness substances may deposit in the inside of machinery parts. So after some time, the quality of the machinery parts may decrease. So this is the foaming. So main reason for foaming, we have to remove the oily type substances in the water sample before feeding the water into boiler. So carryover means the priming and foaming. These two processes are comes under carryover. That means, okay, carrying of water along with impurities inside the steam. In the priming is also same. Carrying of water sample along with some impurities into steam is taking place. Okay, in the foaming also the same phenomena is going on. The carrying of some water droplets, okay, the small air bubbles are entering into steam. When it reaches to steam area, in the steam area high temperature is there, that may break down. Water may moisture may evaporate. Then the hard deposit, the precipitates are there, they may settle out inside the machinery parts. So that is also one of the drawbacks. So this is mainly due to priming and foaming. Priming and foaming usually occur together. Okay, so these are the objectionable because the dissolved salts or suspended solids in dissolved water are carried by the wet steam to superheater and turbine blades where they get deposited as water evaporates. This depositing decreases the efficiency of the boiler because some turbines may be there, some blades may be there inside that boiler, some machinery parts are there. The surface of the machinery parts, hard deposits, accumulation may take place. After some time, okay, those efficiency may decrease. See, the main reason of the boiler pressure becomes difficult because of improper judgment of actual height of boiler column. So these are the some of the drawbacks. So the conclusion is, today's our class conclusion is boiler troubles. What are the boiler troubles? Sludge, scale, priming, foaming, carryover, boiler corrosion, caustic and brittle. Sludge and scale, that is mainly due to hardness causing ions. Priming, okay, that is mainly due to again suspended particles. Then foaming, that is due to mainly oily type or grease type substances. Carryover means same, okay, some suspended particles and oily type substances that leads to carryover. Boiler corrosion, either okay, presence of oxygen gas, presence of carbon dioxide gas, presence of any other mineral acids like HCl or H2SO4, that leads to boiler corrosion. Then caustic embrittlement, the presence of sodium hydroxide, that leads to caustic embrittlement. So these are the some of the boiler troubles. So in your examination, the question may come like this: define boiler troubles and explain the various boiler troubles. Then you are required to write, okay, what is the definition of boiler troubles?